Hi, my name is Ben Seidman. I'm a magic creator on the TV show Mind Freak, and this is the iVanish. The iVanish is a very strong trick that I've been doing for about 5 years, and I've fooled a lot of people with it. I'm going to teach you several methods to vanish the coin, also several methods to bring it back. Some are more tasteful, others are slightly more disgusting, but either way, the iVanish is a very strong effect. It gets great reactions, and I think you will put it directly into your performance repertoire. Let's go watch the shows, and after that, I'll show you how it's done.
I would now like to show you, this is a magic trick that I like to perform for people at fancy dinner parties and cocktail parties. I don't normally, this is not like a casual trick, I do this when people are dressed up in like tuxedos and everything's very fancy and proper. This is what I do.
Please tell me you didn't just do that. No? Oh, don't do that. Oh, man. Oh, are you okay?
No, I know that.
Oh.
Oh, it squirted all over me, and I loved it.
That guy is either cursed or an angel, but I am going to stop substance abuse. Permanently.
That magic freaked me out.
I know, it was really disgusting when you pulled it out.
Oh yeah, and you heard that like juicy noise on the pie? So gross.
It was disgusting, you're right.
Yeah.
Repulsive.
To do the iVanish, you're going to need to learn how to palm a coin in a few different ways. If you're an experienced coin worker, you probably know everything I'm about to tell you, but if you're not, these are very important things to learn if you want to do magic with coins. I won't explain all of these palms in great detail. Instead, I'll refer you to Bobo's Modern Coin Magic, which is the Bible for coin workers. So if you don't already know, listen up. This is how to palm a coin. The first palm I'm going to teach you is the classic palm. To do this, the coin is rested on the middle and third fingertips, like this. The coin is then pressed into the flesh of your palm right here. The fingers curl in and press the coin in. Now the coin is now placed here and held by two contact points right here and at the base of the thumb. This, of course, is the exposed view. The audience will never see this happening. Again, it looks like this. Curl your fingers in. Press it in, and the coin should be hidden from the front. Okay? That is the classic palm. The next palm I'm going to teach you is the finger palm. To do the finger palm, the coin is held at the fingertips like this, actually slightly higher in the hand than the fingertips. You curl your fingers like that, and now by curling the fingers, you're holding the coin in place. From the other side, the coin is held in place but hidden. Also make sure that you're not flashing here, showing any windows. Make sure that these fingers are together. Again, all you do is curl your fingers in, turn your hand over, and the coin is concealed in finger palm. The hand can be shown empty in a variety of different ways, like this. It can be flashed up here to be shown empty. That's called Ramsey subtlety. And the coin can also be held naturally at your side when you're standing in this position. Of course, all of these palms, it's important that the hand looks as natural as possible. The last palm I'm going to teach you is known as the JW palm, the Fitch palm, and the Wilson palm, and I'm sure it has probably at least 10 other names by people who also claim that they invented it. No one's actually sure who did. I mean, someone is. Someone knows. But really, magicians credit these 3 people with coming up with the idea of holding a coin like I'm about to show you. We'll start by showing you how to take the coin from finger palm into the Fitch grip. The coin is in finger palm like this. Your thumb now contacts the coin and slides it back onto the index finger. Okay? Again, this is an exposed view. The audience will never see this. I will show you in a moment how to make this look good from the front. The coin is slid back, and the index finger curls in over the coin. Now, the index finger curls in much like these fingers curled in to hold the coin in finger palm, except it's just the index finger holding that coin. Now, the view is going to be from the front, so let's take a look at what this will look from the front. Now, this is how the coin is held by the index finger. To cover that, when doing this palm, the middle finger goes in front of that coin and slightly curves naturally like this. Okay? From the back, this is what you're seeing. Middle finger hiding this edge of the coin on the other side. And then it's very important now that your ring and your pinky finger also curl naturally to hide the coin. Okay? Right now the coin is in palm. Again, the exposed view is like this. This is a move to practice in front of the mirror a lot and practice to check your angles because it can be an angly move. However, if using this palm and you point the coin at a plane towards the person who you're showing this to, the fingers curve naturally, then it's hidden. Well, now that you've seen the performance, let's go behind the scenes and learn the real work behind the iVanish. I was first inspired to create this when I saw the cigarette through eye performed, and this sort of was born from that. To do the iVanish, you're going to need a coin. You can really use any size coin you'd like. We don't recommend using a borrowed coin for reasons which will become more apparent, but it can be done with pretty much any coin. I like to use $50. Now, I normally perform with silver $50, but I find that it's much easier to use the standard, more recent copper-plated $50. This can be performed with silver dollars if you like, but that takes a lot more practice to make sure that the angles are correct. In some cases, the smaller the coin, the easier it is, but like I said, I prefer $50. A word of caution, actually several words of caution. You're dealing with an object that's going into your mouth that's not food. So, you don't want to swallow this coin. Sounds obvious, but don't do it. I also make sure when I perform this trick that the coin I use is clean. If I'm going to perform this, I will usually escape to the bathroom and wash the coin with soap and water, or swab it with rubbing alcohol, or something to make sure the coin is clean and sanitary. Coins in general are extremely dirty, and you don't want to just stick random coins into your mouth. This is why I don't recommend performing this with a borrowed coin, even though you can. If you do decide that you absolutely must perform this with a borrowed object, with a borrowed coin, you can take an alcohol swab, one of those little packets, take it out, and sort of clean the coin right in front of your spectators, which actually gives kind of a cool effect, because you're sanitizing the coin for what you're about to do. But be very careful, don't swallow the coin, and also, as the coin is coming into your mouth, I'm going to talk about techniques to make sure it doesn't hit your teeth. This is important because the sound can be a tell, and it could be obvious then how the trick is accomplished. Also, you don't want to chip your teeth on the coin. So I'll be talking briefly about how to do this without hitting your teeth. Now that you know the dangers, let's go into the real work of how to perform the effect. The coin is held in the eye in a monocle position. The hand is shown empty. The hand is brought up to the coin, and the hand should come up to your face. It should be vertical at this point. Okay? It will cover your eye and also about half of your face, half of your mouth. When you bring your hand up, you relax the eye, dropping the coin down and stopping it with your lower lip. The coin stops up against your hand, between your hand and the side of your cheek right by your mouth. The next thing that happens when you cover your face is that you relax the muscles in your eye, and the coin drops down, getting pinched between the palm of your hand and your cheek. The coin is now here. What you're going to do is you're going to extend your tongue. It's going to go underneath the coin. If my thumb was my tongue, it would extend underneath, and the coin will now be balanced on your tongue. You can use your hand then to push up against your face, which will square the coin and push it farther back onto your tongue. At this point, your tongue pulls into your mouth like a conveyor belt, pulling the coin into your mouth. It looks like this. Drop, extend your tongue, and palm. Now, when you're doing this, you want to be very careful not to hit your teeth. You don't want to chip your teeth, and also you don't want to hear the sound of the coin hitting your teeth. That's a tell of what is going on. It's important when you do the drop that you carefully extend your tongue outward underneath the coin and pause for a second to make sure that the coin is square on the tongue before you bring your tongue in. Now, when you pull your tongue into your mouth, do it very carefully. You don't want to bring it in super quickly because you don't want to swallow the coin, and you want to bring it in slowly enough that you can make sure it goes in square without the coin clinking against your teeth. The difficult part is that you have to do all of this as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. You don't want your hand in front of your face rubbing your eye for a very long time. What I like to do is I like to drop the coin, do the move. Once the coin is in my mouth, I bring my hand up this way. I angle it so that my fingers are still touching my eye, but this part of my hand moves upward, away from my mouth. That way, when I show the coin in my eye and rub, as soon as the move happens, I can move my hand away, and that makes the vanish more deceptive. There's some finer points when performing this effect that are very important. When you bring your hand up to your eye, it's important to line your thumb up with your jawbone here. Because you're going to be opening your mouth a little bit and doing some movement here, you have to be careful because you don't want your audience to see any movement coming from your mouth or from your jaw. By putting your hand here and leaving your thumb along your jawline, that helps hide that movement from everyone on this side of the audience. Another thing to keep in mind is that your weaker angle is coming in from the other side. If you're using your left hand and your left eye, then the right side is your weakest side. So if I'm performing for a group of people here, when I perform the effect, I will turn to the right as I'm doing the vanish. That way, when the coin drops into my mouth, it's more hidden. As soon as the coin is in my mouth, I can turn back slightly and bring my hand up as I continue to pretend to vanish the coin. Another important point is as soon as the coin goes into your mouth, smile a little bit, like this. If you show a teethy smile, it's very disarming, and it doesn't seem as though anything could go into your mouth. Although when you perform this for your spectators, if you perform this right and have your angles correct, they shouldn't even think that it could be going anywhere near your mouth. Now let's go back and look at the performance so you can see once again what this should look like once your timing is correct. When I first created this trick, I used to vanish the coin into my eye, then pull it out of the other eye, then take the coin, fake transfer, pretend I sniffed up my nose, and then spit out the one I had in my mouth as a way of cleaning up. I soon realized that that was not the way to perform the effect, because even using that amount of time where I did that as misdirection, still showing that it was in my mouth is still exposing the method, and you don't want to tip the method in any way. So I came up with another way to do this. Once the coin has vanished into the eye and hidden in the mouth, before I do the steal and pull it out, if you want to reproduce the coin from your other eye, you use the Fitch or Wilson grip or palm. I have the coin in my hand and finger palm resting at my side very comfortably. When I do the iVanish, I have all the time in the world to shift that coin up into the Fitch Wilson palm, like that. Okay? Once I do that, I show my hand empty, I pause, bring this hand up, and I instantly point the coin on a plane with the audience so that it's hidden. Okay? I also put my hand up against my face. Now, by resting my thumb underneath my eye, my middle finger above my eye, and the tip of my index finger right here, I'm also covering more angles. Now I can show around more, and the coin can't be seen in the palm. The reason I do this, of course, is to hold my eye open. That's important. It's motivated. I've seen some bad uses of this palm, and I think this is one that actually is motivated because it looks like you're just holding your eye open. As soon as that happens, you hold your eye open, you then pause, reach forward, and I bring the coin to my eye. Now, be very careful, again, not to poke yourself in the eye. As soon as I bring it close to my eye, I squinch my eye muscles, sort of holding the coin in place. I then ride my fingers along the coin so that I'm now holding the coin in this position. Again, I go from here, pinching it in here, to here. And as I do this, the coin begins to come into view. And now this is where I really milk it. I sometimes pinch the coin so much that I can actually take my hand away. So I pretend to pull it out, stop, and then pull it out all the way. When you're doing this, it also looks cool if, as you get halfway, you go, and then flip it out, flipping the coin upwards like that. Now that you know the pieces of the routine, I'm going to show you the choreography to routine it together if you want to vanish a coin into the eye and pull it out the other eye. To do this, you need two coins, two identical coins. I start with the first coin in right hand finger palm, and I display the other coin at my right fingertips. This way I can show this hand apparently empty using the Ramsey subtlety, and also gesture with this hand and show both hands apparently empty except for this one coin. I now take this coin in my left hand, and my right hand drops down naturally. I take the coin, position it in my eye. This is when I turn to my right a little bit. I do the iVanish, where I rub the coin into my eye. Now, while I do this, my body is turned, and this right hand drops a little bit behind my body. This is where I'm covered to push the coin from finger palm into the fitch palm, like this. So this all takes place behind my leg. It doesn't even matter, though. All of the action's taking place up here, so they're not going to see it. So I do the iVanish while I push this coin into fitch palm. As I do that, of course, leave the coin where it is in your mouth. I'm just moving it out of the way so I can talk. As soon as it's in my mouth, I turn back a little, and I rub, and I show my hand very cleanly empty. I blink. If you want to, this is the point where you can make it look like you're pushing the coin across behind your head to the other side. At this point, I bring my right hand up in the fitch palm, opening my eyes, showing it empty. I do the reproduction, and I show the coin. I do that, I pass it into my left hand, and it's at this point that I bring my hand up to rub my eye and steal the coin. Like that. Again, the movement is this coin in this mouth. Okay? Like that. At this point, you can hand them a wonderful souvenir. Now let's go back and look at the performance so you can see once again what this should look like once your timing is correct. When I perform this trick, 90% of the time I use the iVanish described earlier. The other 10% of the time I use a different method that I'm going to teach you. I use the other method when I want to perform the trick twice and use one method to cancel out the next one, or when I really want to mess with magicians. To do this other method, which is called the blind vanish, you need your best friend in the whole world, double stick tape. Magician's dream right here. What you're going to do is you do a little bit of preparation, slightly weird preparation, but hey, I already told you to put a coin in your mouth, so this is a weird DVD. Take a piece of double stick tape and stick it behind your ear, like this, a little bit lower than your ear. And for purposes of explanation, I'm going to put one more piece there, just so it's easier to see, so you can see the position right there. So now I have 2 pieces of double stick tape stuck to my neck. I think you can probably already see where this is going, but here's how the effect looks now. You show the coin. Instead of putting it in your eye, taking your hand away and bringing it back, you're going to keep it in your fingers like this. You're going to put it up to your eye, and instead of keeping your hand flat, your hand is curved. So you're going at your eye in sort of a diagonal. When you do this, though, I keep the coin facing this way, so even though my hand's going at a diagonal, the audience can still see the coin on a good plane. You come up, and this is the exposed view of what you're doing. As soon as the coin comes up to your eye, I put my thumb on it, so now I'm holding the coin in place on my eye with my thumb. My fingers from the front are covering all of this. Next thing that happens is my thumb slides the coin along my cheek while my fingers stay in place right here, around to the back of the tape. I stick the coin to the tape, and I very carefully and quickly run my thumb back underneath my hand, along my cheek, up to here. The reason I do this is because the coin should look like it goes up to your eye, and at the angle, my hand is covering my thumb. So from the back, I'm doing this, sliding the coin back, placing it here, and pulling it back. But because my hand is resting here along my face, and I'm tilting my head up a little bit, all of that is hidden. So the coin's in my hand, I write it back, I bring my thumb back, and at this point, as soon as my thumb comes back into position, I open my fingers a little bit, so you see my thumb still in place, and that's when I can show my hand completely empty. One more time in an exposed view. The coin comes up to my head, my thumb rides it back, presses it in place, and comes back under the cover of the right hand, opens up, and shows empty. Now once you do the vanish, you're in a somewhat dirty spot. I would never perform this method for a big group of people. I would only do this for smaller groups of people in the right setting. But there are ways to steal this away and continue performing without anyone seeing it. If you're working out of a close-up bag, or you have props or anything sitting here, or you can turn over here to look at something or mention something, your hand can come up as you reach for something, pull the coin and the tape off, set down your prop, and in that process, I just reached forward. Bigger action covers the smaller action. Mr. Divernon, thank you. Pull off the coin and the tape, and it's hidden by your body. Again, I would not perform this method for a big group of people because of the angle problems. However, for the right group of people, you can do it and steal it away without anyone seeing it. When I perform this trick, I would trust the tape to stick the coin there 3, maybe 4 times tops. I wouldn't trust the tape to stick any more than that. If you want to keep performing this or keep practicing it, I would just pull off the piece and replace the piece of tape. Now let's go back and look at the performance so you can see once again what this should look like once your timing is correct. This is the method for the I can't believe there's another method for the iVanish vanish. It's actually called the eye ditch. What you do is you take the coin, put it in your eye, drop it down, catch it in the exact same spot that you would right before you did the eye vanish, and put it in your mouth. At that point, you're going to pause and press with your finger in your eye. That's the moment that they should think the coin goes in. At that point, you bring this hand down, bring this hand up at the same time, use your right hand to rub your eye, and at that point, you're going to ditch this coin. The best place that I think that you should ditch the coin is a breast pocket. If you're wearing a jacket or a shirt with a breast pocket, make sure that it is open enough that when you bring the coin down, you can simply slide it into the pocket. If you get your angles right on this, the little jolt when the coin drops into the pocket will be covered by the arm. Again, the coin is placed into the eye, dropped into the hand. As this hand comes up, this hand comes down. You ditch the coin into your pocket and press. That hand only stays there for a moment, and you've accomplished the vanish. Now let's go back and look at the performance so you can see once again what this should look like once your timing is correct. So, you want to scare your friends and family. Send children running out of the room. Well, this is how to do it. There's a wonderful trick that was invented by Mac King in the early 80s. It was first published in Penn & Teller's How to Play with Your Food in 1992. The trick is called stabbing a fork into your eye. It's a great visual gag where it looks like you're popping your eyeball, and Mac King is a genius, and I thank him for letting me use this. If you don't know Mac King, go out and buy his book, Tricks with Your Head. Fantastic book with lots of great ideas, and fly to Las Vegas and see his show. Mac is a god and a personal hero of mine. And so, again, thank you, Mac, for letting me use this. But it's a great trick, and I think using the iVanish along with this trick gives you a really good reason to do it and gives a really good visual element to the trick. To do this, you're going to need a coffee creamer, a fork, and a coin. And you're ready to go. To do this, start with the coffee creamer in your left pocket, or if you're sitting, which is how I'm going to explain it first, just resting on your left leg. That stays there. The fork goes on the table. The coin is in your hand. You begin by just doing the standard iVanish, showing the coin, and vanishing it into your mouth. I'm taking the coin out of my mouth so I can explain this and you can understand me, but during the effect you're actually going to leave the coin in your mouth until the very end. The next thing you do, after you do the iVanish, show that it's disappeared, is you reach for the fork. When you reach for the fork, your left hand casually drops into your lap and picks up the creamer. I hold it in a modified finger palm like this. Okay? I transfer the fork into the hand that holds the creamer. That way, this hand has a reason to be holding something. And now this is very important. What you're going to do is you're going to pull down with the fork on your eye. And at this point, I should also mention, be very, very careful when performing this because you are working with a fork in your eye. Please don't rehearse this on a treadmill. Just be careful. So at this point, you pull down your eye like this, and this is really what sells it because this is just a weird visual. When I see anyone else performing this, when I see Mac doing this, it just makes me go, ugh, even just seeing this, just for a moment. What you're going to do is then transfer the fork, do it one more time, bring your hand up, holding the creamer in your hand, and putting it in front of your eye. Next, what you're going to do, and this is the exposed view, is bring the fork up and very carefully, keeping it away from your eye, and instead stabbing the fork into the creamer. It looks, in performance, like this.
No.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, man. Oh.
Are you okay?
The best way to practice this is get a dozen or so coffee creamers, a fork, and stand over your sink because it's going to be very messy. Now, there is actually a technique to this, believe it or not. You don't want to stab bringing the fork up to your eye. You want to bring it up slowly so it's in the right place and then puncture the creamer. Now, once you do this, you can't just let it dribble out because the creamer will just drip out. What you want to do is apply pressure with your thumb. That's what squirts the creamer out. That's what gives it the look of it spraying everywhere, which is so disgusting and awesome. When doing this, it's, again, important to be very, very careful. The last important point when doing this is the coin supposedly drops out of your eye. Here's how to do that. So you've just stabbed here, you're squeezing, it's spraying everywhere. At this point, the coin is still in your mouth. When it's spraying everywhere, you lean forward a little bit and you just drop the coin out of your mouth. Because this is spraying everywhere and everyone's looking away and screaming, it does look like the coin is actually falling out. So there you go. While it's spraying out. Now let's go back and look at the performance so you can see once again what this should look like once your timing is correct.
I would now like to show you, this is a magic trick that I like to perform for people at fancy dinner parties and cocktail parties. I don't normally, this is not like a casual trick, I do this when people are dressed up in like tuxedos and everything's very fancy and proper. This is what I do.
Please tell me you didn't just do that. No? Oh, man. Don't do that. Oh. Oh. Are you okay?
Well, there you have it. That's my work on the iVanish. The Vanish itself is somewhat unconventional and different, but I think it's important to think outside of the box as much as possible when doing magic. I hope this Vanish inspires you to come up with other different ways to vanish coins or other objects, or different applications to use the iVanish. There are many other different applications that you can use the iVanish with. For instance, you can vanish the final coin for 3-fly and have it appear in your hands. You can do the classic coin and eye plot, where a coin vanishes from your hands, reappears in your eye, vanishes from your eye, reappears in your hand. I've performed this where I vanish the coin from my eye and point and show that it's reappeared on the table in front of everyone. There's lots of stuff you can do with it. So make sure that you go home and practice this a lot, and I hope you get as much mileage out of it as I have. Lastly, I'd like to thank everyone who helped me with this production and helped me bring this effect to life, especially Matt King for allowing us to include his awesome effect. Thanks for watching.